Hello and welcome back to another video today here again on Gran Turismo 7 to take a look at another of the cars added as part of December's free update, which is this Corvette C8. This is the fourth car in December's free update that I'm taking a look at, having already taken a look at the Alfa Romeo GTAM, the Toyota Celica rally car, and the Ferrari Vision Gran Turismo. So there's videos of all of those up on the channel if you want to see more details on those, and I will potentially be taking a look at the Bugatti Chiron, the fifth and final car from the update soon, if that would be something you guys would be interested in. It's available from Brand Central for 85,000 credits, which again, as with a lot of the cars in this update, is rather reasonable. It is also available in many, well, these are a bit boring, but many colours. There's a couple of blues, a yellow, Sebring orange, torch red, Long Beach red. I'm kind of torn between red and I'm going to go orange. Well, I say it's reasonably priced because, well, some things in Gran Turismo are very expensive, although it is probably about right given it's more than a C7 generation normal Corvette, but cheaper than these ZR1s. By now, the C8 Chevrolet Courgette doesn't need much introduction. It's the latest generation Courgette, with the rather controversial move from the traditional front-engine layout to this new mid-engine layout, which I think we kind of all expected was coming at some point, but it's still a bit of a shock to see a car that's been front-engine for decades make the move. The engine is a new generation small block 6.2 litre V8, producing 494 horsepower. This engine, though, is still very closely related to the previous V8 in the C7 generation Corvette. It's not especially light, weighing in at 1,530 kilos, putting it overall at 585.02 performance points here in Gran Turismo, giving us a little bit of upgrade room to get it into some events, hopefully. Of course, this car now being in Gran Turismo means there will be a few more customization options, I think, than there are in Forza. Having said that, though, to be fair to Forza, this car does actually have a wide body in that game, as it does here in Gran Turismo, because most cars do. And it's 25,000, not 50, so I am going to fit that straight away. So, of course, now that we've put the wide body on, we need some new wheels to bring the track width out. So I'm probably just going to go with, if I can find them, the BBS wheels that I almost always use, just because they look good on everything. Yes, these. Make them a bit bigger, make them wide, and offset them. Perfect. Okay, now let's take a look at custom parts. Front, we've got a sort of mad splitter and a less mad splitter. Let's go with the sort of less wild one, as I often do. Although there, I quite like that fin, so I'm going to mix and match a bit. Diffuser. Sure, why not? And wing. Okay, so Type A is sort of the factory option wing. Type B, I think's... Is that not the one they're going to use on the... So I don't want that. I like, actually, that it sort of fits the shape of the boot. I quite like the low custom wing, actually, but... Yeah, let's go with low custom wing and then pick a... These big ones are going to pretty much hit the bodywork, aren't they? Yeah, no, I don't want big end plates. I do quite like some of these ones that have sort of got the shape to them. So I think I'm going to go with these ones. Right, racing items. Bonnet pins, I don't think I'll do. Tow hook, nope. And roll cage. No, I want to keep it sort of still looking like a road car. We'll put those on super cool, even though they're already sort of white. And adjust the number plate, although we already don't have a front one. I think that looks better, actually. That shape of plate. Perfect. So I did also quickly buy some Chevrolet paint colours, but as often is the way with Gran Turismo, it painted over that lovely carbon fibre wing I've just put on. So to keep that carbon fibre while the car is still a nice bright orange colour, I'm going to leave it in this standard, well, bright orange colour. So aiming to get this car to about 700, as you can see it's gone just over. I've headed to the upgrade shop and put sports soft tyres on to make it grip slightly better. Added a bit of power with these components. put in a customizable computer, obviously. Height adjustable sports suspension was actually higher PI than customizable, so I might have to put that back to drop it a bit. But it's good to put a few extra parts in, basically, because you can always tune the power back a bit. Done brakes, manifold, air filter, silencer, and a few bits from racing. But yeah, nothing from extreme, so it's looking like that at the moment at 710 performance points. Let's see if we can roll it back a bit and fit it into that race. So all I've done is put the fully customizable racing transmission in and limited power to 94% output, and then it sits just at 699.52, which is perfect. So I first took the Corvette to Watkins Glen to compete in the Clubman Cup 700 for American vehicles, where I was up against many Mustangs and the very American, of course, Ford Focus. Anyway, despite a couple of off-track excursions, I purposely picked a track that I didn't know very well to see how the car would cope, even in a situation where I didn't really know where I was going. I ended up way out in the lead pretty quickly, and after several boring laps, where I actually ended up sort of sliding about and drifting, and not very well either, I won the race fairly easily, which, to be fair, against Gran Turismo AI I should, but I haven't been doing recently, so it's good to see that with the Corvette I could win by quite a margin again. So after a quick retune, basically setting all the parts back to standard again, and putting the output all the way to 71, not quite to 70, I've managed to get it to 599.9, which means we can take part in the World Touring Car 600 event to see if it performs as well at 600 performance points as it did in a 700 performance points race. And that proved to be quite a bit tougher. I had to get used to the slightly worse handling version, so I probably should have really run this race first, then upgraded it more and done the other one. But anyway, had to get used to that before working my way through the pack. I eventually got stuck behind a Huracan for absolutely ages. He kept just braking in really weird places, which I probably should have anticipated. But anyway, bumped into him a few times, got stuck behind him a few laps, and in the end had to dive up the inside of the Lambo and a Jag to get second right at the end there. But still not quite the win, unfortunately, which was a bit of a shame. But yeah, the car didn't feel anywhere near as nice to drive at 600 as it did at 700. And that is going to do it for a very first look at the Corvette C8 here on Gran Turismo 7. Standard, it drove well, it was fun to drive, but had lacking rear-end grip a little bit, but was still very enjoyable to drive about, slide about a bit. Tuned to 700, it did extremely well in that American Clubman Cup Championship, but I seem to remember that being easier than a lot of events. The difficulty in the campaign races does vary a huge amount in Gran Turismo. That 600 performance point one where I struggled to even get second, for example, I have struggled with that before in several other cars, so I don't really necessarily blame the Corvette for that, but I did prefer how it drove in the 700 class anyway. I feel like it started too close to 600 to be particularly good in that, I feel like. So either I'd make it back to 700 or revert it to standard. The problem I have with it at 700 is I can only really take part in those American Clubman Cup races, which I've already done all of. So it wouldn't really be of use to me, so I'll most likely revert it to standard and just have it as a nice car to enjoy, which is one of the slight problems with Gran Turismo. There's not really a lot you can do with the cars. So yeah, I do end up doing that with quite a lot of cars on here, and on other games, to be fair. But yeah, definitely worth going and picking this up. It is reasonably cheap anyway, so it's worth it for a few fun customization options and a nice car to drive, even if you don't end up using for something. So I would still recommend going and getting it, because it is reasonably priced, like I say. Do let me know if you want me to take a look at the Bugatti Chiron, the fifth and final car from this update. I'm leaving it till last because it's the one I'm least interested in, but I would still like to see how that car handles in Gran Turismo. I've only ever really driven it in Forza, so it would be interesting to try it out in another game, I think, anyway. But for now, for a very first look at the Corvette, that is going to be all. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back with the next video very soon.